screech of tires and a shower of sparks. Yuto's race car slid sideways, fighting for grip on the wet track.
What the? Was someone on the track?
As the car spun, a hooded figure sprinted away. For one heartbeat, the hood slipped. Cherry red hair caught the light.
Number. That's impossible. It can't be her.
The next morning, an envelope taped to his door. Inside, a note. Your father's blood still stains this world. You're next.
My father. They're coming after me. Because of him?
Yuto only knew fragments. His father had infiltrated a crime syndicate and was murdered when Yuto was an infant. The threat dragged him back 18 years to a dusty orphanage where everything began. Two 6-year-olds, Yuto and the red-haired Misaki, lined up in tiny carts, their first race already a declaration of war. Now, with a death threat in his hand, Yuto couldn't erase the image of that red hair fleeing into the night. Yuto dug into his father's past. Old police files confirmed the unthinkable. His father had infiltrated the Yakuza 2 decades ago. He was murdered for it. The case went cold, leaving Yuto an orphan and a target. From age 6, Misaki never lost a race. But at 10, something changed. She began stumbling, letting Yuto win more and more. Now, in professional races, the pattern screamed. She was braking early, missing apexes, deliberately losing.
Why throw races after 18 years of rivalry? Was it pity or something darker?
At 14, Misaki openly hated him. But when a gang tried to corner Yuto, she appeared out of nowhere, dragging him away.
I saw you at the track that night, Misaki, and you've been throwing races. What's really going on?
You are delusional. I win when it matters. But if it bothers you, train harder.
Her words cut, but for a split second, her eyes flickered, not anger, but a desperate warning.
But Yuto had already pried open the past. He wouldn't let go now, not until the full truth came out. Yuto's search led him to a grimy garage in the industrial district, a known Yakuza front bristling with black sedans, and there, slipping through the side door, was Misaki, not in a racing suit, but a cleaner's uniform, head down.
A cleaner? Why would a champion racer scrape floors for these thugs?
He shadowed her for 3 days. On the 4th, she veered from her route to a secluded park bench. A woman with a federal badge sat beside her. Misaki handed over a thick envelope, and the woman slipped a file into her bag.
An envelope and a badge. She's feeding them information. About me. About my father.
That night, Yuto started a file. Photos, timestamps, notes. Each entry painted Misaki as a conspirator. The death threat, the sabotage, her secret meetings. It all pointed to one brutal truth. She was working for the men who killed his father.
All those years of hatred were just a game to her.
But even as his fury crested, a sliver of her earlier flicker, that desperate warning, lodged in his mind, unshakable. The checkered flag hadn't settled before Yuto burst into Misaki's pit, crew and cameras swiveling in shock.
You think I am blind? Sabotaging my car? Leaking info to those thugs? I saw you in that garage, Misaki.
You are embarrassing yourself. I have better things to do than entertain your paranoid fantasies.
Misaki's laugh was a blade. The crew stared, and Yuto's fists trembled at his sides.
Then explain this. Photos of you handing an envelope to a federal agent. And this garage logbook. You are there every week.
You followed me. You don't know what you are getting into, Yuto. Walk away, for once.
That night, Yuto paid a contact for the garage's hidden camera feed. Black and white footage from the underbelly in the video. Misaki knelt beside a black car bearing a Yakuza crest. Loosening wheel bolts, Senji, a known enforcer, stood nearby.
She's sabotaging their own cars now? Maybe she's just as ruthless as them. But why?
Yuto slammed the laptop shut, forcing his doubts aside. The evidence was enough. Misaki was entangled in the Yakuza's web. Yuto tracked down the federal agent from the park visit, Riko, stationed at a temporary field office on the outskirts.
You are the agent Misaki's been feeding info to. Tell me who she's working for, or I'll go public with everything I have.
You are in over your head, kid. Some truths are buried because they burn the one digging.
She's warning me off too. What does she know about my father?
Some people protect what they love by pretending to destroy it. Don't let your anger mistake a shield for a sword.
Before he could push further, his phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Stop digging, for your own sake. Min? That night, at the team garage, his backup race car sat ready for morning practice. Underneath, the brake lines were severed clean. The mechanic who launched the engine was thrown clear as the car careened, metal screaming. He survived, barely.
They're not playing games. They'll kill anyone near me. I have to find the truth before it's too late.
Yuto stared at Riko's card. The only lead left, a woman who seemed to know the story only in riddles. Yuto slipped into Misaki's apartment, the lock clicking open under practiced hands. The air was still, carrying her scent behind a loose floorboard. He found a shoebox worn with age. Inside, photos of himself, years of them, candid and tender. Beneath the photos, a faded envelope. The letter inside in Misaki's handwriting was never sent. Yuto, if you're reading this, I failed. I kept you safe by pretending to despise you, but I couldn't let them kill you like your father. I'll protect you, even if you hate me forever.
She kept me safe? All those years of cold words and thrown races, was it all a lie?
The photos told a story he'd missed. Misaki, watching from the shadows, always in the background, always with eyes full of fear.
She wasn't my enemy. She was my prison guard, and I never even knew it.
But if she was protecting him, why the secret meetings with the Yakuza? Why the sabotage of his own car that night?
This letter doesn't make sense. It can't be that simple. She's still hiding something.
He stuffed the box under his arm and left the apartment, the night swallowing him whole. The evidence of her sacrifice burned against his chest. Riko's riddles, the hidden camera, and now this. Yuto was trapped between fury and a dawning impossible hope. Yuto found Riko after hours, shoving her office door open, a box of evidence shaking in his hands.
Enough games. I found her letter. She's protecting me. Why still work with the Yakuza?
You are too entangled for riddles. Sit. I'll show you something irrefutable.
She retrieved an old digital recorder from a locked drawer. The green light blinked as it played. A young Misaki's voice, tearful and fierce. I'll lose every race if it keeps him alive. I'll protect him even if he hates me forever.
That voice. She was 14. The year the threats started.
She overheard the plan cleaning their garage. She's been our informant for 8 years.
Why didn't she tell me? All those years of hatred. I accused her of betraying me.
If you knew, you'd try to help, and they'd kill you both. She had to keep you hating her.
Yuto's legs gave out. He collapsed against the wall, guilt and horror flooding him. The truth was undeniable. Misaki had been his savior all along. Yuto left Riko's office and drove through the night, searching for Misaki. Her apartment was empty, the garage locked. Then a childhood memory surfaced, the orphanage. He found her at the old cart track, sitting on a worn tire, staring at the empty course.
Misaki, I know everything. The recordings, the letter. You've been protecting me since we were kids.
You weren't supposed to find out. You were supposed to hate me.
Hate you? You threw races for me, sabotaged cars, isolated yourself, all to keep those thugs away.
Misaki's shoulders shook. Her voice cracked for the first time in years.
If they knew I cared, they'd use you against me. Hatred was the only armor I could give you.
Yuto knelt before her, eyes stinging. The weight of 18 years of misunderstanding pressed between them. For a breath, neither spoke. Her mask was gone, raw and terrified, and the silence demanded a choice. The orphanage track, where their rivalry began. now held the fragile beginning of something else. Misaki's voice came raw, as if squeezed from a wound that had never closed.
At 10, I heard them. Kuroda's men. They planned to kill you for your father's secrets.
She described losing races to keep him away from the spotlight, sabotaging cars so killers never reached him, and erasing herself from his life.
I cleaned that garage, fed Rico every scrap. They never suspected the quiet girl with the mop.
You sacrificed your career, your reputation, your happiness, and I repaid you with accusations.
I wanted you to hate me. It was the only way to keep you far enough to be safe.
Yuto's fists unclenched. The hatred he'd nursed for years dissolved into a fierce, protective resolve.
No more. I won't be your burden. I'll be your partner. We finish this together.
Misaki nodded through tears, her hand trembling as it reached for his. The first light of dawn touched the orphanage track. But the real battle was yet to begin. Straight from the orphanage, Yuto and Misaki met Rico in a garage office. The alliance was forged, but it needed a weapon.
Kuroda is entering a driver in the final. He wants to humiliate you publicly, right before his men kill you.
Then we use his own stage. I'll broadcast every piece of evidence from my car, live to the entire stadium.
I'll keep Senji off your back. No more sabotage. This time I fight in the open.
They worked through the nights, rigging hidden cameras, tying the broadcast into the track's system. Rico's agency sealing the evidence. Race day arrived under a cold, gray sky. The stands roared, but the air felt heavier than any championship. In the pit lane, Yuto and Misaki suited up in silence. Their eyes met, no words, just the weight of 18 years.
Whatever happens, Misaki, I am glad it's you riding beside me.
They rolled onto the grid. Blue and red, side by side. Once enemies, now the only truth. Behind them, Senji's black car lurked. The countdown lights blinked red. Yuto's hand tightened on the gearshift. This race wouldn't crown a champion. It would bury a murder. The instant the lights went out, Senji's black car lunged, aiming his bumper at Yuto's rear wheel.
He's not racing. He's trying to kill me.
Before Senji could strike, Misaki's red car cut in hard, a perfect screen, blocking the attack. The crowd's confusion peaked. The lifelong rivals were suddenly racing as one unit. On the back straight, Yuto flipped a switch. The broadcast hijacked every screen in the stadium.
This is Yuto, the tycoon in the private suite. Kuroda ordered the murder of my father, and now he's trying to kill me.
The Jumbotron erupted with footage, garage recordings, the death threat, Rico's evidence files. Kuroda's face strained in his luxury box. His phone buzzed frantically, his empire crumbling. Senji howled into his radio, then rammed Misaki's car with savage force, sending her spinning. The secret was out. Kuroda was exposed, but Senji, now cornered, turned the track into a death match. Misaki's car spun across the track, tires screaming. Yuto's heart stopped, but then a flicker of movement. She was still alive.
She's moving, but Senji's lining up another hit.
Instead of retaliating, Yuto wrenched the wheel, placing his battered car squarely in front of Misaki's. Senji's advance slammed into Yuto's tail, metal shrieking, but the impact only wedged them tighter together. Sirens wailed across the circuit. Police vehicles poured onto the track, boxing in Senji's smoking car. Hands raised, Senji was dragged from the wreckage, his curses swallowed by the crowd's roar. Yuto's engine sputtered, trailing smoke, but his wheels still turned. Beside him, Misaki's car limped forward. Both bleeding speed, they crossed the finish line a wheel apart. No need to fight for position. The timing screen flashed their numbers side by side.
We made it, together.
The race was over. Vicious cheers filled the air. But for Yuto and Misaki, the only sound was each other's labored breathing. In his glass tower, Kuroda was met by armed agents. The Jumbotron caught his snarl as handcuffs bit his wrists. The stadium held its breath. Then a roar erupted, not of anger, but of vindication. Yuto pulled himself from the wreckage, legs shaking. Misaki stumbled, and without thinking, he caught her. No words existed for 18 years of hidden protection. He just held her, her tears soaking through his race suit.
You are safe. That's all that ever mattered.
The Jumbotron zoomed in on their faces, tear-streaked but together. The world finally saw the truth. Cheers, not for a race won, but for a rival revealed as a savior. The crowd chanted her name.
She carried this weight alone for 18 years, and I still accused her. I am sorry. I am so sorry. I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you.
Kuroda was led away, his empire shattered. And in the wreckage, 2 broken children from the orphanage began to heal. 3 days later, a press conference was called. Yuto stood alone at the podium, the weight of the world in his eyes.
I accused the one person who protected me my whole life. Misaki is not my rival. She's my savior.
In the audience, Misaki's eyes welled up. She pressed her fingers to her lips, trying to hold back the tears.
I will spend my life honoring what she sacrificed. That's why we're announcing a new team, Phoenix Ascent.
The logo flashed on screen. Blue and red comet tails intertwined into a rising sun, a symbol of rebirth from ashes. Reporters fired questions, but Yuto only looked past them to Misaki, who was now openly crying, her smile breaking through.
She gave up victory so I could live. From now on, we race together, not as rivals, but as partners.
Misaki rose from her seat, nodding through tears. Cameras captured the moment, the beginning of their ascent. Afterward, away from the noise, Yuto found her. He took her hand, and no more words were needed. The orphanage track was behind them. Ahead lay the road they would build together, not as enemies, but as 2 halves of one whole. That evening, they returned to the orphanage track. The bleachers were as worn as their memories.
I read your unsent letter. You said you'd protect me, even if I hated you forever. As a kid, that's exactly what I did.
It wasn't supposed to be like this. I wanted you to be free, to hate me so you'd never look back.
A memory surfaced from under the orphanage dining table. 2 small hands intertwined, a secret pact made in purest silence.
I don't want to be free of you. All those years, hating you was the closest I ever got to loving someone.
Then, let me stop running. I've loved you since that first race. I was just too afraid to let you know.
No more words. He pulled her close, and under the same stars they once wished on as orphans, their lips met. 18 years of hatred dissolved in that one moment, leaving only the truth. They'd both been too scarred to speak. When they finally parted, their fingers stayed laced, exactly as they had been, unseen. 18 years ago, the orphanage gates stood open behind them, but ahead, the road was theirs, together for the first time, within days. Every headline carried her name. The girl who pretended to hate him was the reason he was alive. Kuroda's trial was swift. The evidence Misaki gathered buried his empire, life in prison. The racing world could finally breathe. Then came their debut as a team, Phoenix Ascent rising from the flames. On the starting grid, side by side again, but this time, no rivalry. Every move was mirrored, every line precise. They weren't racing each other, they were racing as one. When the checkered flag fell, Yuto crossed just ahead, but Misaki was inches behind. Together, first and second, the stands erupted. The chants were deafening, not for a winner, but for the duo who had rewritten history. The next day's headline read, 18 years of rivalry, one eternal partnership, the greatest racing duo in history. No longer survivors of a tragedy, but architects of their future. The orphanage ghosts were finally at peace. 1 year later, the orphanage stood transformed. A new roof, fresh paint, and a note under the gate. Funded by Phoenix Ascent Racing, where a dusty playground once held rusted pedal carts. A smooth asphalt track glistened under the sun. Children lined up in tiny carts, their faces fierce and eager. Just as 2 others had 18 years ago, Yuto and Misaki stood at the fence, her head resting on his shoulder. watching the race begin.
They look exactly like we did. You were so annoying, always trying to pass me on the inside.
And you'd cut me off every time. I hated that smirk. Now, I know it was just because you were scared.
The smallest driver shot past the others, red ribbon fluttering from her helmet, cherry red.
She's going to be trouble. Remind you of anyone?
Maybe. But she'll have someone to protect her. That's all that matters.
They turned from the track, fingers laced, leaving the next generation to write their own story, free of the shadows that once bound them. The race cars were in the garage. Today's drive had no finish line, just an old convertible, the salt breeze, and two people who had finally stopped running from each other.
I never thought I'd feel wind like this without a helmet. It's light.
You carried a world on your shoulders. It's time you let the wind carry you.
He reached across, his fingers finding hers. The road curved along the cliffside, but neither let go.
This is what freedom feels like. No masks, no threats, just him.
They laughed at inside jokes only 18 years of battle could forge. The rivalry was a language they now used to love. The sun dipped lower, painting the sky in the colors of their team, blue and red. They drove on, not toward a destination, but into a future where they'd never again race alone. Rivals since childhood, protectors in secret, partners at last. Their race was finally won. The engine stilled at the cliff's edge. Before them, the ocean stretched infinite and calm.
For years, I imagined standing here alone, watching you from a distance. Now you are right beside me.
No more distance. No more pretending. You are not my rival. You are the reason I am alive.
The words that had never been spoken finally hung in the air. She was protecting me all along. Misaki slipped off her helmet, the transparent one she'd worn as a shield, and set it aside.
I wore it so you'd think I was indestructible, so you'd never see the scared little girl inside.
I see her now, and I love her. All of her. The rival, the protector, the girl who threw races to keep me safe.
The wind lifted her cherry hair, tangling it with the whisper of 18 years of secrets finally laid to rest in the sky. A faint stamp appeared, as if branded by fate. 18 years. She was protecting me. They stood at the edge, not of the cliff, but of a new life. Hand in hand, the road behind, the future open. The wind carried the last echoes of the past as they sped back toward the city. The convertible hummed a quieter song. That night, the team gathered in a celebration no script could copy. And for the first time, Misaki danced without glancing over her shoulder.
You are not on guard anymore. We're safe.
I'll need time to believe it. 18 years of instinct don't vanish overnight.
In her mind, the orphanage track still hummed with the engines of their first promise. A place where a little girl decided to become a shield. The racing world celebrated not just a team, but a story that redefined what it meant to compete. Their legacy was secure. At the next race, Yuto placed a small cherry blossom decal on Misaki's car, his mark of gratitude. Invisible but permanent, on the track they moved as one. Their timing so perfect it silenced any who called it a coincidence.
This is the best driver I've ever faced, and the only one I'll ever need.
And with that, the 18-year lie dissolved into the salt air, leaving two people who had always been each other's destiny. The stars above the orphanage watched the same way they had 18 years ago. Silent, patient, finally witnessing the truth.
Every race from now on, I'll look to my side and see you, not in my mirrors.
No more looking back. The road ahead is ours.
At the orphanage, the new generation raced under the same banner. 2 carts, one blue, one red, side by side. The cherry blossom decal remained on her car, a quiet promise that whatever came, they'd face it together. Their story was no longer about survival. It was about a love that had defied death, lies, and years. In the end, the greatest race they won was not on the track, but against the shadows that tried to tear them apart. And so the rival since childhood, who pretended to hate him, became the partner who loved him forever. The title that once seemed a betrayal now read like the truest confession She was protecting me all along, and as the sun rose on their new beginning, the world knew some rivals are just guardians in disguise. In the quiet of their shared garage, the blue and red race cars rested. Their helmets, once shields, now hung side by side.
Every scar on that helmet is a decision she made to keep me alive.
Misaki walked in wordlessly. She found him holding an old orphanage photo and simply rested her head on his shoulder. No words were needed. The photo that once captured their rivalry now rested beside a new one, two adults smiling, no race to win. Outside, the orphanage track was silent, but a single light pole illuminated the finish line, their finish line, where it all began. The children who once raced there had grown up, and the fight was over. The protection was complete. Later, they drove the old convertible to the cliffside, parking it for the last time. The road ahead was theirs, uncharted. His fingers traced the cherry blossom decal on her hand, a tiny replica he'd placed on the car, now mirrored on a ring.
I spent 18 years pretending to hate you. I think I'll spend the rest of my life showing you how wrong that was.
The engine never started again that evening. They didn't need to rush. They had already won the only race that mattered.